we'll be the next Daily Wire.
Yeah,
you
pretty
know,
much.
obviously, don't try to do. I would. I don't think the whole set up the whole. You know, what do they want to? They want to make a new Disney, but right wing. I
Oh,
think that's a
that
little too much.
that's not going to work.
Yeah.
No, it's not because it's going to end up. It's going to end up the same way as like I would say corrupt at the end because they're going to infiltrate and they're going to
Mhm.
like turn it upside down, inside out, and it's going to be the same deal again. It's
But
just like
honestly, Julio, this is the news now.
yeah,
This is now
factual.
replacing the news media.
I hope so because man, this it's going to be spicy today. It's going to be spicy. All right, welcome to the show. If you're listening or watching us on YouTube, TikTok, we got reels going on TikTok. We got reels on TikTok, and we got a long form format at Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, and Rumble. And you will see our reels going through different platforms. And I'm your host, Julio, with my co host, Roberto. And
How's it going, guys?
we are going to be spicy
Oh
today.
man, today, it's gonna be. It's probably gonna, for sure, either ruffle some feathers up for sure.
Oh, yeah. Or we're going to get banned left and right.
Yeah, yeah. Either
Definitely.
way, but
We-
good thing this is America, and we believe in free speech and challenging ideas and ideologies that some people might think is good,
mhm.
and some people think, hey, don't go there, but we're gonna go there.
We're going to go there regardless. So today's talking point is the main talking point today is Muslims moving to Dallas.
Oh yes, I know. The thing is, uh, when you hear this, it's in the face value, it's like just another religion. You're thinking, oh, n- new Catholics are moving in, or Christians, non-denominations. But when you actually dive in and you hear that Muslims, because it's one thing if they're converting, if there's converts, like we always had Muslims here, or Buddhists, but that's one thing. Oh, they're converting. You know, that's good. I guess what they would say is praise Allah, right? But then it's another thing if they're migrating in full count numbers to where, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Could this possibly be the next Europe? What's going on in Europe right now? You know, I think, you know, in the Dallas Fort Worth area, about 420,000 Muslims from 2020 to 2024.
Mm.
That's insane. That's
You're talking about 125,000 a year.
that's what it sounds like. I don't know the few metrics, the actual metrics, if it was this much, and I'm sure ChatGPT could break that down, but just that number alone, that figure, 420,000. And this is from different places, from all the way from different areas like in Africa, um, South Asia. They're coming from Pakistan. I mean, these people here are, and I'm not trying to say with this. I hope no one misinterprets this and saying like, oh, they're Islamic phobic, or it's not that. It's just that what do they believe? Like, what if we pick one country, which I'm gonna pick the most radical, because this in the same coin, somebody will pick the most radical part of Christianity, which would be the 1300s, right? Where the Crusades, and they were fighting for to promote Christianity, and they're gonna try to say that. But okay, let's talk about the present, right? Let's talk right now, Yemen, right? You got people coming from that area. What do they believe? Well, let's see. I know Islam is the number one factor, but the other thing is they marry 8-year-olds. I don't know if you knew that, but there's a lot of men that are in their 40s getting married with children. That to them is a good thing or a normal thing. Is that normal here? Hell no. Or excuse my French. No, we don't accept that. So, just bringing that up, you have people that like that coming here and they'll assimilate,
Mm.
all right? And who's to say? I mean, look what's happening in Europe. And it's scary because give or take that maybe we vetted them, right? Which I totally doubt we vetted them under Biden's administration.
Nah.
He didn't even know what was going on. And for them to come this close to where we live in Dallas, Texas, that is alarming. So yeah, I'm glad that we're bringing this topic up, and 420,000.
It is insane. I mean, the other day I was looking at, was Glenn Beck, if not mistaken.
Yep.
They were talking about the whole community, a whole subdivision in Dallas Forward. The whole subdivision is all Muslims. It's nothing wrong about that. It is my question is to the people listening or watching us. My question is, will the mass migration, let's say Muslim for this in this case is for over 400,000, will that change the landscape of the belief and core values of the Dallas Forward area region? Because they, like you were saying, they don't have time to acclimate to our belief. They're gonna bring their own belief, their own traditions, and which is fine. But what if they're trying to implement those and trying to make everyone conform to their belief? That's my question.
Yeah, and see, okay, good point. So now, for the viewers, I asked this question. Get in there and comment on this. I have a question for all who are against what we're saying. Ask any Muslim. Their number one. This is one thing that they will not deny. Their whole, whether you're a Sunni or a Shia Muslim, they all believe this. They want to conquer. They want Muslims to be the they want to take over the whole world. That's what they all believe. There's no they say they're accepting. When I got on Chat GPT, they were even saying, or even Google's AI, and it was saying that they're accepting to LGBTQ. You really think they're accepting to LGBT? I mean, really, somebody's behind this. We can criticize Christianity, we can criticize anyone else. In fact, it's safe to say that you would get praised if you try to do any criticism to Christianity. But the moment I make one criticism, just a talking point right now that we're doing, we're gonna get like backlashed, and we're gonna be all kinds of names. And all we're doing is having an honest discussion that is something that it needs to be had, because guess what? We're about the same age. We remember 9/11. What did we say we wouldn't do? We would never forget.
Mhm.
And for the honor of all those people, we are not forgetting. And how do we get to the point where this ideology brought so much pain to our country? And I guess this tells how loving and how accepting United States is, that we still took these people, right? Instead of going and becoming whatever they say we are, Islamic phobics or whatever. But it gets alarming when you got 420,000 in one city. Now, we haven't researched Houston, which I did a little bit of research, and it's also neck to neck with Dallas. So then what about the other cities? What about it's very alarming. And if we were to trade certain principles from Judeo-Christians and replace it to Muslim, I wonder, and I ask everybody, please comment, would USA be the same if we traded the principles in our Declaration of Independence all the way to our Constitution. If we were to trade those principles, would it be the same country? And I don't think so. I mean, both I get it, and I'll grant you both the Quran and the Bible do have uh instances of situations where God commands the Israelites to kill certain war and stuff, and same thing with the Quran. The prophet, not God, but the prophet tells them, in a wartime to kill infidels uh and have their
And
slaves.
non-believers, that's what
Yeah,
they
they call
call
them
them.
non-believers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the question. That's a question that I have. Like when we started conforming to their belief because we want to be like accommodating and we want to be a good host and we want to be, you know, leaving our core values in our amendments, like the First Amendment, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and all that stuff. Is that will be our downfall? Like following our principles are gonna lead us to
Our
the
downfall.
demise?
Yeah.
Do you think so? Because I believe so because I was looking
Yeah.
at Jesse the other day.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. I was looking at him and he was interviewing a Muslim, and when he asked her about Christians, like will they convert to Christianity, they say no. And what about the other way around? And they say like we're gonna take over.
I know. And see
And that
that
was like, man, that's
it
bad.
it's scary. It's scary. And now let me ask you this. You who has experience going over there and seeing the civilians in their natural habitat, obviously you probably didn't get to see it fully naturally because you're a soldier. So, but how was it over there? Like, how was, I guess, how were the people? Were they? Did you ever get a chance to see, like go in towns and see the interactions between themselves, or because I have some other buddies that went, and they told me some crazy stories like in Afghanistan. I don't know where you were, but they were saying that you know, they would say if they wave at you a certain way, don't wave at them, don't give them eye contact, because some of them like to sleep with men, and they don't consider that gay or something like that. And
It's weird.
yeah, they're
And the whole thing is weird. Like they hate homosexuality in the broad sense,
yeah.
but they themselves do the same acts.
Yeah, see, that's what I hear.
And I'm like, it's not contradicting their own belief. And what's concerned me is like concern to me is the way they marry. They're not married this same age or
Yeah,
kind of
correct.
similar same age. They know they like 30, 40, 50-year-old guy marry a 10-year-old girl or boy. I don't know.
Yeah, so
And
see
that's
that.
why I'm like, come on. I mean, whether it's true or not, to mm, common knowledge, probably not. Like it's not out there like black and white. But I I seen people talking about it. Like same Muslim like females
Yeah.
from those regions escaping their culture and saying, hey, it's barbaric. You know what I mean? Like,
Honestly, that's what it sounds like to me every time I hear these stories.
yeah.
And
And they want to leave. Because you're gonna have people like, okay, I mingled with a few people and they were good. Normal person like you and me.
yeah,
But in everything is always the extreme side. It's always the extreme side. It's like, and that's what prevails in that region. Whoever holds the guns, whoever holds the Bible, whoever holds the knowledge is basically over, they're gonna do whatever. And
exactly.
it's like it's lawless down there. It's lawless. They do whatever they want. There's no repercussion. There's no a form of justice but
And
it's brutal. I mean, in the whole sense, it's brutal. They just like they do whatever they want. They do despicable acts. They hate homosexual. They hate Christians. They hate whoever not believe in their belief. Call them non-believers. And the Quran said it. You know, if they don't want to convert, you must exterminate.
and
That's on their
that is crazy.
that's on their belief, and that's why they call that to America because they call America the infidels. They burn our flag all over different countries. You see them on TV,
Yeah.
you see them on the news, but can I go to Mexico and burn their flag
Oh
in the
no.
middle of Mexico
Yeah.
DF? Can I go to let's say Yemen and burn their flag?
Oh no. Yeah. I'm sure.
I'm not coming back in one
Yeah.
piece.
That was the last time we heard of Julio.
Yeah, you know that would be the last time. But yet they come over here, protest, burn our flag in our soil, and we're supposed to be nice to them.
Exactly.
And we still be accommodating, and we still support, and we still give them liberties that to people that's not even citizens. I mean, it's a whole
And
it's a whole separate ball game. But
but here's one thing,
that's what I
Julio.
hate.
There. Let me bring this up. Uh, there's truth. You know, there's a saying that says, uh, "Nothing's further from the truth," right? And I'm Mexican American, meaning, well, I'm American, not Mexican American. Sorry, my parents are Mexican Americans. They were born in Mexico, became citizens, and now they're citizens, right? Then they had us, and now I'm an American. But what I'm bringing this up is there's stereotypes. You know, there's you hear stereotypes, and you some of them they hit right in the mark. As much as we'd like to say this and this and that, it's mean and this and that, but there's a little bit of truth in them, right? I mean, that's just human nature. Kids are bullies. Kids are a kid will tell you straight, like, let's say I have an insecurity of my nose or my eye, or I have a chipped tooth, right? And a kid would be like, "Oh man, your chipped tooth is horrible," and then it's gonna hurt me if that's my insecurity, right? But so, I'm saying this like basically trying to articulate that stereotypes came from that same part of nature that we do is we make fun of the next person for something either we see, right? Beaners, I like beans, Mexicans like beans, right? And just an example. Well, what I'm trying to get with that is that all these things we hear about Muslims, how much of that stuff is true?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't help but to question that. And when I see how many Muslim ran countries are out there, and yet they come here and we are all isolated. We don't know what's out there. I mean, I'm gonna be honest and be real with you. I've never been over there on that side of of that continent. You have. You have as a soldier. Um and and the people that come, obviously they know, and they probably see a weakness in our kindness,
Yeah, that's
and they're taking advantage just like they did in Europe, and they're all their little girls over there. Or I'm sorry, they're all the little girls out there, all the Irish, or you know, uh, and it's just crazy. And somebody's suppressing that. I don't know why, um, but back to the whole deal is that it's alarming that it's very, very, very scary. And the reason of having this dialogue is to open the eyes of every American and realize, hey, maybe we need to vet people before we accept refugees, before we accept who's going to come here, because uh, it's bad habits, or any habits is hard to break. And if I was brought up to believe that getting married with a minor is normal. His grandpa did it, his father did it, his uncle did it. Then how is he going to think? Right? He's gonna think that's normal. So
Yeah.
when he comes here to United States, he's gonna think, well, what's wrong? Well, you're not supposed to do that. Okay, I'm not gonna do it. But then when he does it, he's really not feeling bad because in his mind, he doesn't think that he did it. Now, changing the subject. Now, let's say he's he's normalized to think every woman's supposed to be covered from her ankles, everything, from her wrist. If she shows her wrist, I get to essay her because she showed her skin.
Or stone her, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But and then when they do it, they don't feel bad for it because in their mind they feel that they're vindicated. And there's another example, and we don't have to go that, I guess, far, but um, it was 2023, I believe. Um, there was a kid, and I don't remember the area, and I probably shouldn't bring it up because I don't know the exact facts, but I'm sure somebody must know what I'm talking about. But there was a clerk, and it was in the Middle East. He had like a store. His son was running the store, right? And he had his AirPods on, not AirPods. He had some headphones on, and he was listening to Justin Bieber. And I guess the Islamic police got wind of it. I don't know how they found out, but they stoned him to death. They killed him. The dad came back and didn't realize what happened. And the reason why is because he was listening to Justin Bieber. Okay? That, again, we don't have to go back far in history. It's just right now, just in another country. You know, there's a thing in Spanish, the show called Derbez. The guy would say, "Que alguien me explique," which is from like that's what I feel like. Man, can someone explain to me why? How is that? How is that okay? And how are we okay bringing the innocent people, right? Them coming here, but have how many of them have that mindset? They can't act on it, obviously, because our laws, right? But they believe in that. And then there's another situation in Europe that was a few weeks ago where a journalist asked one of the guys, "Hey, so you want Sharia law?" He said, "Yes." And then he's like, he goes, "Oh, it's coming." He goes, "That's why we have more kids than you do. It will eventually have that vote, and we'll have Sharia law." And that is scary. And that's why when I seen these metrics, 420,000 within the DFW from 2020 to 2024. And that's not converts, that's migrants.
Yeah. Then that will double or probably triple in 10 years,
Oh, yeah.
that amount. Yeah, and that's the concern because it will, like I was saying, stating in the beginning, it cannot terraform the whole area.
Yeah, basically
You know what I
terraforming.
mean?
Yeah.
You're terraforming by overpopulating and overtaking the, I would say, the native people from Dallas. In 10, 20 years, they will be basically run out of the not the state, out of the city.
Yeah.
They will be because their numbers do not match their numbers. And the guy, I see that the interview
Yeah.
that you were mentioned, and and I had JJ Carroll here explaining to me why they let all those immigrants coming in, so
That's insane.
they can uh, have more seats in the House and more seats in the Senate, and by doing so, they will make the laws,
And that's their goal.
and that's their goal. And I mean, and the issue is, okay, which way are they going to vote? Are they going to have a new party with Muslims or Islamic based belief, or are they going to take over one of the parties, the Republicans or the Democrats? Or which way are they going to go?
And
And we seeing they're going Democrat.
they're going Democrat.
We got Elon Omar, we got Tahibi, whatever the other one
Yeah,
is,
I can't stand it.
and that's my concern. They going probably most likely Democrat, but at the same token, they're gonna have more seats, and by having more seats, they're gonna overturn, or they're gonna like turn down everything. They will block Donald Trump or whoever's in power to do anything about it.
Exactly. And like Ilhan Omar, she 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 married her brother, right? I mean,
And for them, it's normal.
yeah. And for what? To get papers,
Probably so.
Yeah, and what's scary is she's from her Somalia, right? Somalia.
Have you seen her? Have you heard her last statement?
Mm-mm.
She's saying she's there to fight for the people of Somalia.
Okay, well,
Why
they
she?
explained to me about the slavery in Somalia. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're there, why? Like you know, these liberals, yes, I'm saying it, Dems. Okay, you're outraged when you see the women saying we're oppressed because we can't kill our babies. Or I'm sorry, we're oppressed because we can't abort, right? Um, and guess what? There's women out there that are really oppressed, and they are, which this was a buzzword for the longest, groomed. They are groomed to believe that the abuse that they're having is okay.
Justified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's justified. And then you got slaves right now. Right now, we're not talking about back in the Jim Crows, back in the 1800s. No, 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 no. Right now, 2025, in the continent of Africa. Not Africa's not a country; it's a continent. And there's a bunch of countries in that continent that have slaves right now. Slaves right now as we speak. And Somalia is one of the ones that are okay with promoting all that. It's just what happened there. Um, it's it's terrible, and she's here.
Yep. And she's always saying something radical, man. It's so why we allow that type of person be in a seat, so in the Senate or the House of Representatives. They have to make a law.
Yeah, they do.
We have to make a law. If you are not naturalized citizen, you have to wait at least 10 years before you be appointed or run for any seat. 10
Exactly.
years. Give you time to assimilate the culture, even though you have your own, but you have to conform to the house, to the host nation, and then you kind of run for a city. But these people coming in sometimes without paper, and they run for office and they
Exactly.
win.
Yep. And here's now this is just for fun thinking. If they permanently kept Doge and they make the department head of Doge be an elected person, right? And that any time any politician, regardless whatever it is, either even a bureaucrat has to get vetted through Doge, right? That would, to me, I think that would be a very good step, like to be, because honestly, find out where did this guy come? If he farted in 1932, which he would be dead by now, but I'm just, if he farted so and so, we know it. I want them guys to know everything about this person that's coming in, any, whatever, and honestly, that's something that, again, that would be cool to to have, like um I think that's something that, but I agree with you that, yeah, we shouldn't have that guy, like that Indian guy that's trying to impeach Trump. I
Ah,
have
with the
no
with
idea.
the tope.
Yeah, he's like the opposite of Trump, the generic version of Trump.
Yeah, yeah.
i, I don't understand a word he says.
He has like he ran a business of like testing with animals and stuff like that.
Beagles.
And beagles, and then they went bankrupt, belly up, and then he left all the dogs in there. They had to rescue the dogs out
Yep.
because they were there without eating for days.
And
And that's the guy already
trying
in
to
the House
impeach,
of
yeah,
Senate,
I
in
know,
in the
dude.
House of Representative. Come on, man. We need to do better than that.
We do, because that alone. It's like, where's the animal lovers? Why aren't they over there protesting that?
Where's Peter?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you know.
Where you guys at?
Yeah, I mean that's for real. I mean they're coming off a little topic, but it's like USDA, right? I mean they had this facility right by the medical center, and
Mm.
where they practice their drugs on pigs and stuff. Like that's horrible. Which I think it closed down thanks to Doge.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I got two more topics. I didn't talk to you about it beforehand, but the other two topics that I have is what are your thoughts on your point of view on this event with James O'Keefe? Sorry, to James O'Keefe going dark. Have you seen James O'Keefe?
The guy from
Project Veritas.
Project Veritas. Yeah, oh
And
man.
he went like he said it. I will put a clip below. He said it like, I'm afraid I'm not suicidal, and he's going dark. Right after the death of Victoria Roberts,
Yeah.
he went dark. What happened?
And as Victoria is
The one that got
from
sold by
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. Yeah,
Oh, so and okay, so man, I was
that's crazy. I mean, if he went dark right after her apparently unaliving herself like with 7 stab wounds, uh,
yeah, come on now. Let's be real.
yeah.
Let's be real.
She got stabbed right a couple of
Yeah.
times. Yeah, like okay, got it. So why James when dark
Went dark, yeah.
right after, not even 24 hours after her death, not even 48 hours, and all this stuff coming up. Oh, all the documents start coming up right now. Like, is he behind? He just releasing everything, or do you think it's a dead man switch just in case something happen?
I
Somebody gonna have.
I think James O'Keefe probably has information that he probably can't release, because obviously they haven't declassified everything.
Mm,
And I was just looking at this with the PBD podcast,
yeah.
Patrick. I was just listening to that today, and they were criticizing, which they have every right, because I'm in that same camp. Cash Patel and Pam Bondi. You said you were going to release these files. Where are they at? Right? Where they at? Why haven't we gotten it? And I honestly think the mistake was them saying that we will, as soon as we get there, we're releasing it. And I'm sure they found out, and they realized, like, and Patrick from PBD, he says there could be only two reasons. He said, one, someone big that's in there is in there, right? In that list, and within the Trump administration. And that's probably that. The other reason is they're using it as blackmail, because okay, this is not ethical and not good, but maybe they're saying, hey, we got this on you, and they're moving, but I don't agree with that all the way. What I do think is that they found something,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's in administration, but they found something that's like, we cannot let the world see this, because it would shatter everything. So I think it's something huge, and I think the players that are in there, we kind of already know, kind of like the JFK files. I've already seen everything we were suspected on George W. Bush Senior. I mean George A. Bush, right? Um, no, George H. Bush. Um, he was. I don't know if you knew this, but he was in the CIA,
Yeah.
and the conspiracy was that he was the one that did the shot that finished it. Because if you've seen JFK, he leans forward because he got shot, right? And then, right, so, and that trajectory where it hit, and the conspiracy was that he was there,
Mm.
Bush, as a CIA operative, and the JFK files confirmed it. And I don't know if you remember that when it was his funeral, everybody got a card except for Trump. And when they gave the card, everybody's like, oh my God, And what was in that card, everybody doesn't know. Everybody speculate. My belief is that Trump knows. And that's why they're like, oh, you know? And I feel that that's why they were so hard at him not trying to win. He didn't win yet, but, you know, he knows. And I think going from that, right? Conspiracy in Jeffrey Epstein, I think there's players involved that would shatter our confidence in the government. And I think giving them grace, right? I'm giving them grace, giving Cash and Pam a grace that they're probably realizing that, oh my gosh, we gotta first control everything before we release this. Because if we release this now, there's gonna be
Fires.
firestorm from all angles, and they're gonna be assassinations and attempts and all that. Because one thing that I like to listen to Candace Owens as well, she brought up a good thing that Israel's involved.
Oh yeah, the most.
And this is probably going to get taken down now because we just said the most biggest thing, but Israel is in there. Israel's in JFK. Israel is in Jeffrey Epstein. So I mean,
Do you think they behind Victoria too?
probably so. They're probably
I,
behind also.
that's right. They probably that's why James O'Keefe went dark
Yeah.
because he probably he probably got word or wind of something coming up, and he's like, all right, let me go to the hideout or something.
Yeah,
Because
because it's crazy. It's
if it's
insane,
something happened to him,
man. That's gonna be like WikiLeaks. Remember
oh yeah,
Assad, which
somebody gonna have a dump of
you seen
information.
how when they released him, he looked broken down, dude. He looked broken. He's not the same as
He got probably got waterboarded and everything.
yeah, all that torture.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is just yeah, he was just like James O'Keefe, or right, and you know, it's just crazy. But honestly, I do believe that these people, that's why either Pam knows that's Israel involved, and she's already because Elon quit, right?
That's weird too.
He quit because he like weeks before he told Joe Rogan, and we talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
that he's already got death threats, and he's just afraid of his life. He's like, we found corrupt no, and then Joe Rogan asked him, and he goes like, just fraudulent stuff. No, 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 no. We found
Big.
big stuff, and he goes, he goes, I don't even want to talk about it. I was, it's like, dude, I, that is a patriot. Even though he's fears for his life and maybe for his family, and that's why he probably left, and he'll never admit to it. But if that happened, I still see him as a patriot. And even though he wasn't born here, he was born in some country in the continent of Africa. But uh, I mean, no one does that. I mean, I've seen a quote that her mom says that ever since high school, he's always been talking about he's been wanting to do something for the humankind, to innovate stuff, and which he has. I mean, PayPal. I mean, there's other stuff that I found out that he was involved in that I didn't know, and
Mm.
stuff that we use every day. And but going back to that though, I honestly think uh, he's running for his life, O'Keefe, and we all know it. We know it, and he's probably in a safe position because if they do get to him, everyone knows. You know, everyone knows. Don't know exactly who, but we know that. And that's why and that's why I tell everybody like Donald Trump is just a stepping stone. He's a big stepping stone, but uh, and he's playing politics. He can't go full well, retard, like, Tropic Thunder. He can't go because you got to be smart. You got to be strategized. You don't know if there's an undercover wolf in within his midst,
Hmm.
so he can't. And one of them, which I was so happy when RFK won. I was so happy that he was in the camp, but then I realized by watching Candace Owens, uh, he had Rabbi Shmuley with him, and that guy is not a good guy. Rabbi Shmuley also was part of P Diddy's area. P Diddy's bodyguard or hitman was the guy bodyguard for Michael Jackson. Rabbi Shmuley and all the were the ones that said that Michael Jackson was a pedophile, and now we're finding out that Michael Jackson probably wasn't a pedophile.
He was a victim of it.
Yeah,
I'm telling
that
you, all these people. Don't you think that we are living in the modern Game of Thrones?
yeah, yeah,
It
exactly.
seems like a Game of Thrones, but in the modern era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 2025 Game of Thrones.
It's almost like they're telling us in the shows, and then they're like they're too dumb to realize, but you're living that,
Yeah, yeah. It's
These
like this
powerful
house
people, yeah.
against that house, and you got the people working around it, and you got lobbyists doing their things and moving pieces, and it's everything so strategic, man. And just
And to be honest with you, that's all it is. And
yeah,
us common folks, we don't get it sometimes. And
yeah.
um
We're not in the weeds. We're not in the known of why they do or what they do. We just like we whatever they tell us, we take as a face value.
well, and see, right now, that's why people brought up that word misinformation and disinformation and all that. But all that stems from the confidence, because we had all the confidence in our government. We had all the confidence in the news media. Donald Trump comes and says fake news, and everybody's like, "Oh, that guy's he's attacking freedom of speech." And the news media, yeah, he's attacking freedom of speech because I don't want you to find out what's behind here. Yeah, don't pay attention to him. And then Donald Trump's like saying these these things, and internet is at the same time evolving. It's changing. This podcast, thanks to Joe Rogan, that decided, hey, I'm just gonna record and have conversations we normally have, but record it and live it, And now all this TikTok is just taking control of their control of narratives. So now we're finding out, and guess what? It's like we found out we're living in a lie. So
Mhm.
then we don't believe anything. We come up with a conspiracy theories. That's why people believe in. There's a lot of people that believe in the Earth is flat now.
Yeah.
And everything is now a conspiracy because Alex Jones was 85% correct. you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it
just like,
was.
so we lost confidence. So now we're s- we're we're paranoid almost to believe in anything,
Yeah.
and even the facts, which is dangerous too, because I could be telling you facts right now, but you're so paranoid that you won't take it in, and that's also dangerous. That's why we must take everything serious and actually digest it, like the flat earthers. I already, when I first heard that, oh my god, you're so dumb, right? That's my first thought. But you know what? I said, you know what? Let me take it in. Let me hear him out, hear him out. Okay. Then I asked the next question. Well, explain lunar eclipse. That's where I get them, and they don't have a really good explanation, because a lunar eclipse means when the sun, right, is casting a shadow
From the earth.
from the earth to the moon. So explain that. If the earth was flat, then we would have a line, or we would have some type of thing, or it just, we would see the mountains, because it's flat, right?
Yeah.
We would see some type of, but instead we see a sphere covering the moon. I mean, and there's more things to disrupt them their thinking. But anyways, but that's why so many people are in disbelief. And so when we hear, James O'Keefe is hiding, we can't help but to already understand that they're after him. Or we can't understand, we can't help to think that there's a big boogeyman, which a lot of people don't want to believe that. But I am now in the firm belief that these there's multiple boogeymans, but these boogeymans, they're the ones moving us like chess pieces. And we're not even a chess piece. We're not even,
Not even in the game.
yeah, not in the
We are
game.
the
Yeah.
we are just the prize. We just in the back somewhere,
Yeah.
and and that's my concern. Like now, James he went black, he went dark. Who's next? Like, who do you think is gonna like? It's a lot of independent journalism. They do their due diligence and find stuff. And are they gonna go dark too? I mean,
Well,
because you have a few, like for example, you got Ian Carroll.
yeah.
He do his research and find stuff. If he goes dark too in the next couple of weeks, who's next? Alex Jones?
Yeah,
I mean, those guys that because O'Keefe and Alex Jones, or they know each other pretty well. But who's gonna have the dead man switch just in case something happened to O'Keefe?
yeah.
Is that gonna get blasted like the
Or you know who
WikiLeaks?
else too? Um, the guy we were just talking about, from the Blaze. Man, he does very, very
Oh,
intricate.
Glenn Beck?
Glenn Beck. Because what he does, he goes, man, he puts a
Oh,
board.
the shark
Yeah,
board.
and he
Yeah,
goes with facts and dates
I
and
like I
time.
like the
I
I like
know,
the
me
board,
too.
man. I
Man,
like it.
I
He's
one day.
he's here in Dallas too.
Oh, he is? Man,
Yeah,
we
he's
probably
in.
need to reach out to him.
Yeah,
Man, I shout out to Glenn, I mean, he's way big, but I love how I wish I had that talent to go as far as like timestamp everything and make a whole timeline to where, because us like me, I'm a visual person and I have to like see all that to understand. But
that's where I got Burisma from.
really?
Yeah, when I saw that Burisma and Hunter Biden, I was like, holy moly!
Dude,
I mean,
that was insane too.
he broke it down way before, like 2017. He broke that down.
He broke down Elon Omar with her brother and everything.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
documents and all this stuff. They do a lot of
Yeah.
research, man. They put a lot of money behind it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
To get the facts right and
But
get
see,
the
so
info.
I was gonna say history has shown us that uh when it gets to the point where the power is gonna lose power, like with JFK, when he was going to make Israel, the Zionists, become a foreign um forgot what that's called, where they donate. So there's a cap and there's a fee that they have to pay. Well, moment that because that's where they slush money in. That's what we're finding out, and then it changed to APAC now. That's Israel's. That's why they're able to. Whoever wins, they donate the money, right? And they're they don't have a cap because they're considered domestic and they're not domestic. They're a foreign uh but anyways, so when JFK, oh, a day later before the deadline, he got pewed, right? He got assassinated. So I would say that that's where Trump fits in because how many days was JFK? 180 days or something like that. It wasn't even and I'm probably wrong. It's some I know it's in the hundreds and some,
Yeah,
but
not even a year.
yeah. And so here's the thing. Um we can't really say that that's what's going to happen because something changed. The technology. We have a bunch of journalists that are actually, podcasters, investigators like James O'Keefe and Glenn Beck, so there's, like you said, who's next?
Hmm.
That is, we're living in something new, in a new territory. We can't reference it to a history because,
It's ever changing.
yeah,
It's ever changing. Just imagine 40 years from now, we're gonna look back to 2016 and probably 2030, between that time frame, that 15-year time frame. And they'd be like, man, that decade and a half or the 2 decades, it was nuts.
I know.
It was power grab and pieces moving around and people getting unalive and people going to jail and people disappearing
And people
and countries falling and new countries rising up and
people praising to attack the white man. Like that is crazy.
blue hair,
Yeah,
no spears.
women wearing the vagina hats.
Oh my God.
Like what?
What is going on?
I know.
Uh, this is Twilight
They
Zone.
don't even know. We're not gonna know what they, zer, whatever.
Pronouns came
Yeah,
about. You know what I mean? Now people got pronouns on their bio.
dude.
If you go to
LinkedIn.
emails and LinkedIn,
Yeah,
he, her, or he, or she,
I should have
or
put.
they, them.
I should have
What?
put Lord and Crown or something. Crown Lord, or
Call me daddy.
call me Daddy. Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
Oh,
it is nuts. But I guess it just we are going through a phase
yeah.
and we're gonna grow out of it and then we just move on and
But we need to be vigilant. Like this is what we're having these
yeah.
conversations. Um, you know, and see, for all you viewers, if you notice, we also were attacking Israel. So I know that some of like I'm pro Israel for the Israelites, like, and I am pro for the innocent Palestinians. But at the same time, let's attack the ideology from what it is, right? And that's what is all about, is just these conversations. And sometimes, like, these people that are playing chess with our lives are pinning us against each other.
Yeah.
So we just need to have these conversations, be open minded, and be let's just not shy away from the conversations,
Yeah.
because that's what can get us potentially in a spot where we'll repeat history. And honestly, uh, as long as we keep talking about it, James O'Keefe is not suicidal, and his car, I'm sure, is in good shape. So, I just, it's scary to be in that position, hiding.
Yeah, it is scary. And now that you mentioned security, be aware of what's going on around you. I know you mentioned that. Uh, please follow my friends of Safe Secure Podcast. All right, Safe Secure 360 Podcast. They record their podcast here every week. So go check them out. I'm gonna leave the description down below or QR code here or here. Just go ahead and follow them. They're pretty good guys. They talk about security in schools, and protocols, and writing SOPs for companies, universities. So they are pretty good. They're pretty professional. They have years and years of experience. So go check them out if you like all this, being secure and how to tackle situation on the road and de-escalating situations. Those are the guys.
That's pretty informative right there.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, because every day we need road rages.
Oh,
Yeah,
especially in Dallas, here in Houston. So yeah, I Greasy keep me informed.
yeah, I know. Grizzy, shout out Grizzly. I've been hitting you up, but you don't answer. But man, shout out to Grizzy, because man, what she does, I like what she does.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't agree with my politics and what I stand for, and that's hence why she's probably ignoring me.
Yeah.
But shout out to Grizz, because she what she does when I see those things that is going on in our city,
Raw.
bro.
You get the actual what's going on.
Yeah, because you hear it, right? But it's one thing that she reports it. And so it's like, okay, that's one, two, oh, three. God, man, a lot of that action's been going on.
Yeah.
And one thing that I guess I can give her credit for is Jocelyn. Ningari, that little girl that
Hmm.
passed away uh, from an illegal gang member. Um, yeah, dude, that right there, I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for the Grizzy news,
Yeah.
or
Shout
the
out to
Grizzy
Greasy.
Hood news. But
Yeah. Shout out
uh,
to him.
yep,
All right, brother. Hey, thank you again for
yes,
coming by.
sir.
Hopefully, we're gonna do another one sometime next week or two
Maybe,
weeks.
yeah, we can. Yeah, we can do it next week.
So if you like that, please comment down below. If you have any questions to us or you have any suggestions for next topics, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Maybe if you know somebody we should invite over here to have a discussion, and maybe we'll have a three-way interview, or just sit with someone that you might think of. Just let us know.
Yep. All right. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe. And also, God bless you. Until the next one. Bye bye. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Man.